The road into Eld Hollow curves through orchards that are older than the cobbled streets, older even than the sagging chapel bell that tolls once every year to announce the masquerade. All season long, the orchards ripen in silence, but on the last night of autumn, the population of our tucked-away town swells to more than double. Everyone who was born here returns, no matter how far the wind has blown them. Travelers who stumble upon the valley by accident find it impossible to leave until morning. Lanterns, shaped like hollow suns, are strung from branch to branch, their orange glow dripping onto mossy roofs. In every window, masks hang like expectant faces, paper swans, brass foxes, velvet-covered moons, waiting for flesh to animate them. A stranger could mistake the preparations for whimsy, but we grow solemn as midnight nears, because we learned long ago that masks in Eld Hollow are hungry things, and they always remember who fed them last. My mother used to say that the masquerade began as a kindness. "People hide the whole year," she'd murmur while stitching ribbons into place, "so we offer them one evening when hiding is allowed." She died when I was 15, leaving me her spindle, her seamstress's eye, and a single admonition: wear the truth beneath whatever lies on your face. Since then, I have taken commissions all through October, hemming illusion for neighbors who still whisper prayers into the fabric. I tell them the same thing each year: the mask you choose is the mirror you earn. Yet they come with their secret griefs and petty envies, asking for teeth made of pearl or feathers dipped in wine, certain that beauty can bargain with destiny. I finish each piece, hand it over, and watch their gratitude tremble, because I know what happens when the moon climbs straight above the bell tower. The silk fuses to skin. Paint sinks like veins, and the person the wearer pretended to be becomes the person they cannot escape. No one speaks of last year except in mutters that fray before you can grab hold. 12 guests vanished between midnight and dawn. Their houses stand undisturbed, doors still bolted from the inside. I remember the empty chairs more clearly than the dancing, the baker's stool by the cider vat, the schoolmistress's corner near the fiddlers, the mayor's niece who loved riddles and dared me to say my own name backward. When morning came, their footprints simply stopped, as if the earth had decided to swallow them heel first. Some say they wandered into the forest wearing masks that would not let them breathe. Others believe they followed a music no living ear could detect. Sheriff Alder searched until the map ran out of ink. He returned with nothing but stories of bone-white shapes flitting through the branches. We buried 12 stone markers anyway. Their families have lived a year beneath the weight of an absence so heavy it makes the streets creak. I convince myself I attend the masquerade tonight out of duty. I crafted more than 40 masks, and it would be discourteous not to see how they settle on their new owners. But the truth is simpler. Fear tastes sweeter when it brushes the tongue of curiosity. I have chosen my own disguise carefully, a lattice of willow twigs stained the color of old blood, threaded with river glass that reflects every light twice. At dusk, I join the procession toward the orchard green. Drums thud like distant hearts. Violins shimmer. Children dart through legs, shrieking delight, clutching sugar-dusted apples. Elderly couples move as one, heads swathed in jeweled spirals. The air hums with cinnamon and anticipation, and above us, clouds mass into a single, lidless eye, as though the sky foresees what the town refuses to remember. On the platform near the cider press, Master of Revels Corin Evernight, yes, that is his true surname, raises the ceremonial blade used to cut the hour free from its tether. His mask is a mirrored disc. None of us has seen his face for 30 years, but people insist his cheeks are tattooed with constellations that vanish in daylight. "Revelers," he calls, voice echoing in the cauldron of evening. "Lose your doubts as you lose the daylight. Leave fear in the bottom of your cups. Midnight will judge whose spirit is worthy to pour into dawn." The crowd answers with laughter sharpened by nerves. Cups collide. Somewhere in the throng, a pair of lovers kiss through velvet muzzles and vow never to remove them. I tie my willow lattice behind my head, feeling the knots pull strands of hair like small, persuasive fingers. Through the gaps in the twigs, I watch faces blur to beasts and seraphs, sculptures of imaginary freedom that will soon demand more than imagination. The first omen arrives with a change in the wind. The apple's sweet breath of the orchard sours, replaced by the brittle scent of candlewick and winter stone. The fiddlers falter mid-reel. From the path that leads out of town, sealed by tradition, guarded by two iron trellises shaped like guardian wolves, figures emerge. They move with stiff, unfamiliar grace, like dancers practicing steps learned in a dream. Their garments are those our missing friends wore a year ago. The baker's crimson waistcoat, the schoolmistress's lace shawl, the mayor's niece's emerald boots. But the masks are new or ancient. Smooth bone carved into caricatures of human skulls, the sockets black and endless. When they tilt their heads, something rattles behind the bone, as though pebbles were whispering secrets to hollow reeds. No one speaks. Some drop their cups. The cider steams where it spills. Sheriff Alder pushes forward, hand trembling over his holstered pistol, but the master of revels lifts a gloved palm, signaling restraint. The returning guests, if guests they remain, form a silent semicircle at the edge of the firelight and wait. It is almost midnight. The bell tolls, a single note that seems to bend the orchard branches inward. Tradition commands that each reveler remove their mask at the first stroke, revealing what truth has hatched beneath. Yet none of us can move. The moon glides to the apex of its arc. A thread of silver falls across the clearing and cinches tight. I feel heat bloom against my cheeks. The willow lattice softens into pulsing bark that clings to flesh. Glass shards liquefy, seeping through pores like cold tears. All around me, I hear gasps, sobs, the shriek of fabric ripping as bodies twist into the identities they borrowed. A man in a lion's snout drops to all fours, mane sprouting through his collar. A shy spinster whose dove mask I embroidered lifts suddenly weightless arms, feathers rippling where elbows should be. The transformation is seldom this violent, yet something tonight accelerates the ritual, as though the boundary between pretend and become has crumbled. The bone-masked figures step forward in unison. Their voices pour out together, a polyphonic murmur that belongs neither to man nor woman, neither to the living nor the charnel quiet. We wore what we wished, they say, and midnight granted the wish. Flesh is a debt. Tonight we come collecting. Their sockets flare with cold phosphor. Each points to the reveler that once was their dearest acquaintance. The baker's wife whimpers when confronted with her husband's rattling grin. The school children shiver behind their teacher's ossified gaze. And the mayor, lurching half-changed beside me, his opal harlequin mask now fused into a cracked mosaic across his cheeks, stares at his niece's bone visage and begins to weep uncontrollably. I try to back away, but roots snare my ankles, my own roots, extending from the transformed willow mask, anchoring me to soil that now feels like the bottom of a river. Panic tastes like sap in my mouth. Mother warned me of this. Choose a mask that grows, and growth may consume you. But I need clarity, not regret. Summoning every scrap of will, I reach upward, fingers hooking beneath the twigs that have become part of me, and I tear. A crack like green wood echoes, pain blossoms bright and wet. Yet the mask loosens just enough for me to breathe without tasting bark. I stagger free of the roots, leaving a small garden of splinters behind. The master of revels strides between living and bone. Eld Hollow honors its bargains, he proclaims, his mirrored face reflecting the spectral flames. Yet you were not forced to choose those masks. You went willing. His voice trembles unwilling, as if the word recalls a private wound. What claim do you press upon us? The 12 raise their skeletal hands. In each palm shines a tooth, a feather, a glass scale. Trophies shed this very hour by the transformed townsfolk. I glimpse my own bloodied shard of river glass among them. We claim continuity, the chorus answers. Release us from this half-life. Let us wear the selves you abandoned. At that moment I understand. Last year's revelers did not vanish. Their masks completed the metamorphosis, stripping away humanity until only avatar remained. Bone is the final mask, the residue of all the others. They return tonight to harvest what fragments of identity we have shed, hoping to rebuild the lives they lost. But if we give them these fragments, will they regain personhood? Or will we finish the journey they began, slipping into vacancy behind them? Sheriff Alder finds his voice. You can't have our pieces, he says, though his left hand is now furred like the paw of the wolf mask he wore. We're still ourselves. Are you? The chorus replies. They gesture, and the transformed revelers convulse, animal cries leaking from altered throats. The lion man roars in agony. The dove woman's wings beat frantically, scattering quills. I feel my own face heat, bark threatening to knit shut again. My shard of identity, already stolen, pulses in that parchment-white hand. I step forward before fear can veto the motion. Take me instead, I call. Voices hush behind me. I designed half the masks here. I wove the spells whether I meant to or not. I will trade myself for the others. The chorus tilts its dozen skulls. What shall you trade? I unclasp the willow lattice entirely. Blood streaks my jaw where roots tore free, but I lift the mask above my head like a severed crown. A craftsman's truth, I say, though my voice quavers. The knowledge of how to choose, how to shape. Wear this, and you'll remember what it is to become, not merely to be made. The master of revels shouts protest, but the bone circle has already surrounded me. Cold fingers brush my wrist, replace the mask with the glass shard, slick with my blood and theirs. I feel them testing the weave of twigs, the memory of wind that still lives inside. Yes, they hiss, this holds a doorway. 12 sets of skeletal thumbs press against the mask in 12 places, splintering the lattice outward. Where bark breaks, flesh grows, tender and pink. The willow mask is devouring them, roots winding down bone arms, burrowing into marrow. For an instant their sockets flare brighter, then dim, as green shoots erupt through skull crests, splitting them like overripe fruit. One by one the bone masks crack, fall away, and underneath appear faces, ringed by raw sap, gasping, blinking in bewilderment. The baker's cheeks are gaunt but human. The schoolmistress's hair escapes in silver tangles. They collapse into the grass, alive. The orchard exhales. Transformations halt mid-snarl. Fur recedes, feathers molt to skin, claws soften to fingernails. My own cheeks throb but remain flesh. Throughout the clearing, masks slump like shed husks. Some crumble to dust at the touch of dawn's first pale ray. Others glisten, dormant but intact, awaiting another hand. The revived 12 huddle together, shivering under blankets fetched by stunned onlookers. None can recall where they spent the year, only that they floated inside stone, listening to echoes of lives that were no longer theirs. The willow crown that rescued them lies ruined, empty of enchantment. I feel bereft and, strangely, free. Sheriff Alder escorts them to the infirmary as the master of revels approaches me. He removes his mirrored disc. Underneath is a weathered face etched with constellations, as rumor claimed. You gambled the craft itself, he says, voice tinged with awe and reprimand. Why? Because a mask maker must carve exit holes as well as traps, I answer, though I have never spoken that thought before this moment. Otherwise, every story ends the same. He bows, a gesture rare enough to hush the chatter of those nearby. The masquerade will continue next year, he announces to the scattered crowd, but with new rules forged by she who unbound the willow. A murmur ripples. Relief, suspicion, respect. I do not know what rules I will write, only that midnight will still judge, and I must teach my neighbors how to stand trial without surrendering their names. As dawn bleaches the orchard, I pick up a fragment of bone mask overlooked in the grass. It is smooth and warm, humming faintly with a tune I can almost place. I tuck it into my pocket. One day I will grind it to powder, mix it with paint, and inscribe warnings along the rim of every new creation. Wear me with courage. Wear me with care. For when the clock sings, nothing hides. Yet some masks may open doors, and every door swings both ways. Eldhollow sleeps through the afternoon. The cider press is silent, the chapel bell mute. But I remain awake, sketching designs on parchment scraps. Outside my window, the orchards rustle like applause or like restless graves, I cannot tell which. The masquerade will come again, as relentless as winter. Still, I no longer fear that night. I have seen bone crumble into bloom. I have learned that truth, once revealed, can be rewritten, stitched anew into shapes that let us breathe. And should I find myself tempted by another mask's promise, I will listen for bark beneath the whisper, glass behind the glitter, bone under the blush. If I can hear those layers, I can choose. Choice, I have discovered, is the sharpest tool in any workshop. It can slice, or it can sculpt. Next year, when lanterns return to the orchard and travelers find themselves unable to leave, I will greet them not as sentinel of doom, but as keeper of possibilities. After all, nothing in Eldhollow is ever merely one thing. An orchard is a lantern, a mask is a mirror, a missing face is a seed, and midnight, if courted wisely, can be the hinge on which an entire town turns from forgetting to becoming, again and again, as long as someone dares to pass through, not hiding, but guiding the way.